What's news, Artifam? This is Artifact News coming to you with episode number 24, Artifact Evolution. I was going back and forth with what to name the video. It was Skin Vial EVO X or just EVO X, but then right at the buzzer I was like, you know what? It's got to be Artifact Evolution. Because that really encapsulates for me what is happening right now with the Artifact brand. It's undergoing a metamorphosis from whatever it was to whatever it's gonna be. And I think a lot of that has to do with the closing of this season, right? This shipping season. And when you look at everything that was shipped, from the AR hoodie to the Season 1 forgeable clothing, to the crypto kicks in real life, and then the recent AF1s, you know, and then we forged the crypto dunks. Those aren't going to be actually delivered until June 2024, but that seemed to be the grand finale of this season. And you know, we also have the forging of the physical vials coming up soon too, but again, those aren't going to be delivered probably until June 2024, along with the crypto dunk genesis. So yeah, it seems like all of that's kind of coming to a close, and you know, we've already seen an uptick in the digital talk lately, right? I mean, one of the first things is the Fortnite UEFN, which we'll get into that more later in the video in other news, but yeah, we're going to be doing a Fortnite UEFN, and then we're going to, I mean, if you've looked on the artifact.com and you look at upcoming events, one of the first things it says is Artifact Animus Egg, which that is really tricky, right? Because it's not like it says Animus, which that seems like that would be like, okay, upcoming event is possibly the Animus website to just kind of talk about the Animus in general in an overarching website. But instead it's very specific, and it's just like Artifact Animus Egg. We're talking straight up about the egg right now. And I don't know if I'm like conveying the subtlety there, but I think when you say Artifact Animus Egg, man, it just seems more specific. Like maybe they are talking. Could it be that we're going to be talking about incubating those eggs pretty soon? I wouldn't think it's going to be the reveal of the egg, because I think there's got to be some kind of incubation first. But yeah, maybe it's just straight up, hey, this is how you incubate your egg. I don't know. Maybe that coincides with the Animus website too. It could be all of the above. So yeah, I mean, hey, I'm fired up about the Fortnite UEFN, and I'm fired up about this metamorphosis too, this evolution from physical to digital. I think it's really important that Artifact has both of those aspects to it, and that they kind of keep those in balance. And I'm, as a gamer, I'm really, really excited about the digital. It's not that I don't respect the physical. I think they need to be kept in balance, but I'm really excited about the digital now. And hey, Epic, they are a juggernaut in the game industry. We all know that. $5.8 billion in 2022 from Fortnite. Physical skins. Basically just digital fashion. That's what they're selling, right? They're selling a digital currency, V-Bucks, and people are using that to straight up just purchase something that is cosmetic. It's nothing that really helps them in the game or anything like that. It's just straight up cosmetic, which is fashion. It's digital fashion. $5.8 billion per year. And people can't even sell their digital fashion. So it kind of, that's some friction for people even wanting to buy it, right? Because if people can't buy something, or if the people can't sell something, they're more reluctant to buy it. So if they're selling $5.8 billion worth of digital fashion, when a lot of people don't even want to buy it because they can't resell it, what happens when people are allowed to resell it? You know? Does it go from I mean, how many people are on the sideline that definitely do not want to purchase it because they can't resell it? I bet you, man, I don't know. I mean, I can't come up with that number. I think it's a lot of people. Also, when people play a game and they can't sell any of the items in the game, you know, so they're basically just burning their time because they can't monetize their time. So yeah, they're having fun and it's not all about money. I get that. But remember, for me, money is just time plus energy. So people like to awfulize any kind of pursuit of money, but really all money is time and energy. And if you don't want more time or energy, you know, I mean, hey, some people don't, some people do. I want more time and I want more energy. And I would like to basically use my time in any way that I see fit if possible. Same with my energy. So if I'm playing a game and I can have fun while I'm playing it, but also I can maybe pick up an item over here and sell it on a marketplace, which allows me to earn more money, which is just time and energy. And I can employ that in a different way. Then that makes sense. I'm having fun and I'm making money. Why not? I don't know, for some reason, gamers really want to separate the two. They don't think that you can do both successfully. And I gotta tell you, there's just really a lot of dogma going on. And that's another part of the evolution that I wanted to talk about, is just like, I've been thinking this for a while, but in my opinion, software is like ideas. I mean, really, ideas are just like software, okay? Let's just say it that way. And it's just like if you have a phone and you're downloading an app, okay? The phone doesn't register the app at 5% downloaded, and it doesn't register it at 30% downloaded. It doesn't register at 97% downloaded. Like, the phone doesn't even recognize that the app is there until it's 100% downloaded. And for some reason, I feel like if we as people are almost like phones, and a new idea is like software, and it's like a lot of people, we all have different download speeds, you know? Or sometimes an idea is explained in a certain way that is just so succinct and so easy to understand that it's easier to download. So it affects the download speed of the concept. But gamers right now are stuck on like 13%. 13% downloaded to understand digital property rights. I mean, if the app is called digital property rights, gamers still don't understand how important that is. They will. There's no doubt about it, because there's no other way to cut it other than if you own an item, if you put your time and your energy towards owning an item, you definitely should be able to sell that item. Because it should be your item. It should be, you know, if you devote your scarce time and your scarce energy to getting an item, you should be able to sell that item. And if you're a gamer, I just want to talk to you. Just please listen to me here. If you don't get it yet, think about this. Back in the day, you could go buy an actual game, okay? They would give you the game. It would come in a cartridge. It would come with an instruction booklet and a box, the whole thing. Now, when you're done with the game, you didn't like the game or whatever, you can give it to your friend, or you can sell it to somebody. Or you can go get ripped off and trade it in a GameStop, whatever you want. But now, with the digital games, and they're almost all digitally downloaded at this point, you can't do that. There is no resale market. Come on, like, that's insane. I mean, we went from having property rights over our games and being able to sell them to not having that ability. And the games cost just as much as they used to. But now we just can't sell them. So there's clearly a hole in that market. I don't think anybody's necessarily doing that nefariously. I think this is just so brand new, because remember, this all started with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the reason why we have digital property rights. That's in 2009. Right? So we got 14 years here. Humans have been around for millions of years or whatever. All people think different timelines on humanity, but It's only since 2009 that we've had digital property rights. So I've said it in a previous video, but we're basically in digital feudalism still, where we're trying to figure out how to properly give property rights to humans. Only we're just trying to figure it out digitally. So like working for something or giving money for something and then getting that digital item, but not being able to sell it is seriously, that's in the serfdom days. That's what the peasants and the serfs and all that used to do. We're beyond that. So we need to move beyond it. But we have people out here downloading at surf speed, and like we need people to like kick that download rate up. And it's weird too, because like I'll try to bring up an idea every once in a while. One of them is with the drip token. Everybody's always just like, dude, please stop bringing up drip token. Dude, no, I'm not gonna stop bringing it up. I mean, honestly, like the top 6, I believe it's like the top 6 projects, they all have tokens. So like anybody who's like, dude, stop bringing that up, for me is not really thinking strategically. I mean, you would never, like, if you were in some kind of I don't know, if you were like in the NBA or the NFL or in a soccer league, like if the top 6 teams had a certain strategy and they're dominating the whole league, and you're like, and you don't even want to discuss your team having that strategy, I mean, hey, please don't get into coaching or don't get into strategic thinking, because that's not how that works. I like to think like Kobe Bryant, right? I remember a lot of people used to clown Kobe when he came into the league because he was copying Michael Jordan. And everybody was just absolutely all over him for doing it. But you know what, man? Kobe is an ultra strategist. And I love that about Kobe. He came in, he looked at the league, and he said, who's the best person in this league? It's Michael Jordan. Okay. Well, if there's anybody he's going to emulate, it was the best person in the league. And he did it, man. Jump shot, layups, defense, all of it, man. He basically just kind of emulated Michael. Obviously, like, he made his own road eventually, right? But like, he came in as a strategist. And if you've ever listened to Kobe Bryant, you know how strategic that dude is. He could have been a general in a war, 100%. I would have fought for him, because he doesn't make mistakes like that. He doesn't like try to be prideful and go against a strategy that's clearly gonna work. He's the kind of general that looks at the floor and says, what's the smartest thing I could possibly do? That's what I'm gonna do. And that's why he's a champion, man. So I don't know. But when I bring up drip tokens still, and I'll say something like, you should do a regulated drip token using the 43 years of experience that Nike has working with the SEC. I mean, how big of an advantage is that? Maybe 2 other projects in the entire crypto sphere have some kind of advantage like that. And I mean, I'll say, okay, they should just tackle the regulations head on with this huge advantage that they have, and these lawyers with the 43 years of SEC experience. And the first thing somebody will say back to me is, dude, you can't just do it right now. The regulations, man. And I'm just like, man, are you listening? Because I was saying, I straight up said, tackle the regulations straight ahead with your strategic advantage and all the SEC experience. Bored Ape Yacht Club doesn't have that. Azuki doesn't have that. Moonbirds, they don't have that advantage. Captains doesn't have that advantage. Like, nobody has that advantage. Artifact does. But like I said, man, ideas are like software, and it's like until you download it 100%, it just doesn't even make any sense. It's like the system doesn't even understand the software or that it's even there. So I don't know, man. There's another concept I talk about too, where like this project is called Clone X. If you wanted to grow this project, it seems like the only way to do it is by cloning the clones, right? And there's all this talk about how can we become God tier? How can we become God tier? Benoit said a God tier. It's like, okay, well, let the clones make clones of themselves. Maybe they get in a hibernation chamber and a vial gets dropped off, and now they can sell a clone of themselves. But the Genesis clones are the only ones that can make the clones. Not the Gen 2 or Gen 3 or Gen 4. None of those clones can make clones. Only the Genesis clones can. And when I say that, the response almost immediately from 10 different people is, dude, there's going to be a ton of dilution. Because now those other clones are going to make clones, and then it's just going to be an exponential and I'm like, dude, that's not what I said. Genesis clones are the only ones that can make the clones. And therefore, it's not dilutive, because the new clones that are coming on the market can't make new clones. So it's actually accretive, because it makes the Genesis clones completely valuable, because now they can produce a resource that can be sold. And they're the only ones that can do it. But like I said, man, ideas are like software, and it's like no matter like when you say, if you could say a new idea, and if people haven't downloaded the idea yet, they're just going to reject it flat out. So that's part of evolution too, right? Is getting beyond that and like taking an idea on its merit and just logically working through it to see if it logically makes sense. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, another like evolution that I could see us making here is like, I hear, this is going to be a hot take here, but the creator economy. You know, like, honestly, if you've ever studied economics, you know that, let me just say this first. When I hear creator economy, it's like somebody saying ATM machine. You know, because ATM is automated teller machine. So if somebody says ATM machine, it's automated teller machine. When I hear creator economy, I feel the same way. Because an economy really is the interplay between producers and consumers. And producers selling items to consumers. Another names you could use are creators selling things to collectors. So the term economy, that covers everything. It covers the whole thing, because we already have creators in there. So it's kind of like when I hear creator economy, it's kind of like the creator, collector economy. Like, I mean, we don't need it. Now, I do like when I hear Kuro say creator revolution, that does make sense. Because creators historically have not had a great relationship with collectors. I honestly, if you ask a lot of collectors though too, they would say the same thing the other way. They'd say they have not had a great relationship with a lot of creators. Because there's a lot of scammer creators and there's a lot of scammer collectors. Basically, if you're on either end of the spectrum, you're kind of a scammer. Like, if you only like creators, you're kind of a scammer, in my opinion. Because there's a relationship between creators and collectors that's very important. And that is how art flourishes. When there's a creator that creates the art and there's a collector that wants to collect the art. Because if there isn't a collector, then the creator is not going to be able to create for long. Because they won't make any money and they will have to get a normal job. Because teeth problems really hurt. When you need help, when you need medical assistance, in European countries, it's a little bit different because there's, socialized healthcare, which is great. But in America, man, if anything goes wrong with you health-wise, dude, you could be looking at a bill that is a bankrupter. It could bankrupt you instantly. So, like, money is important to creators. Big time. And a creator that takes care of their collectors is always going to be able to create. And a collector that takes care of their creators is always going to be in the loop to collect the stuff that's worth collecting. So, you know, understanding that balance is very important. And in my opinion, if you're on either end of that spectrum, it really does get pretty scam heavy. You know, like a collector that doesn't care about creators either, like they're not going to be collecting for long, and a creator that doesn't care about collectors isn't going to be creating for long. But I do hear, like when Kiro says creator revolution, I do know what he means, which is just like, it's time for creators to have an avenue to be able to sell their goods and not need middlemen the way that we've always needed middlemen. So I do get that. I like the creator evolution thing. I am not really into the creator economy situation, because for me, an economy is just the interplay between creators and collectors, or consumers, producers and consumers, whatever you want to say. So yeah, anyway, that was a long diatribe about many different topics, some of which were definitely hot takes, but hey man, that's just how I feel. So that's cool. In this episode, first thing we're gonna talk about is the Vial EVO X. Then we're gonna get into a new what's next top 10, because things have changed, right? Some things have shipped. Some things are going to be shifting around on my traditional list here, so I wanted to update that. And then the last thing we're going to do is hit the old ION, the positively or negatively charged news in other news. So yeah, that's about it. And you know, once again, thank you for joining me. If you haven't, like or subscribe it, that would be great. Tell a friend. I think we're at about 279, slowly moving up here. We're almost somewhere. We need to get to 500, so we still got a long way to go. But we're moving. We're making moves, slowly but surely. So, thank you for joining me. Now let's get in. Okay, now for our first topic, Vial EVO X. And before we get too far into it, I want to look at the video that we always look at here, just to kind of set the stage for the Vial EVO X ecosystem as it relates to the Dunk Genesis. Here we go.
Welcome to the RTFKT ecosystem. Today, RTFKT together with Nike Crypto Kicks introduces the future of sneakers. Starting with the RTFKT Nike Dunk Genesis, powered by DreamOS and Skin Vial tech. Skin Vials allow you to change the look of the RTFKT Nike Dunk Genesis or any compatible sneakers with limited edition skins. Collect, evolve, and breed sneaker skins, created by legendary collaborators, artists, and the RTFKT community. Load up thousands of skins to a single pair of sneakers. Today, we start with EVO X, RTFKT's first skin vial collection featuring 8 Clone X DNA-based evolutive skins. EVO X powered skins vials allow you to evolve your RTFKT Nike Dunk Genesis sneaker and choose drip upgrades and powers. Which path will you choose for your evolutive skin as you journey into the RTFKT ecosystem and unlock the future? The future is now. RTFKT.
What a great video. Super well produced. Basically just outlining the entire approach here, though, is that they're going to be evolutive skins based on skin vials. But like, we can get way deeper into that, which is what we're going to do by looking at the patents. But before we do, I wanted to give some credit here to Deep for once again bringing up the idea that we should take a look at the patents. And Deep went through and says, here are some alpha looking through the US patents for the RTFKT Dunk Genesis. Deep does a really great job of just succinctly going through each of the figures and giving his thoughts on that. Definitely follow Deep at 0x_Deep. And go check that thread out if you want just like a nice quick reference that you can always get to on Twitter really quickly about those. And I also want to give some credit to Meryl too, because Meryl's always talking about it and keeping that patent stuff in my mind about how important it is that we should take a look back at those patents. And it's very deep. You're going to see like how deep it can go here in a second. But I just wanted to give some credit to Meryl. Meryl's super cool. So definitely follow Meryl at Meryl the Cat. Always has great information and just super chill. So really cool person. All right. So now let's dive into the patents here. Okay. Here we go. So this is like the first figure right here, figure 1, and this is just outlining here the monolith, I believe, and how the monolith dropped a monolith vial, and that inside the monolith was also another monolith. So that's basically what this is. It's a schematic timeline progression of the evolution-dependent locking of a cryptographic digital asset. That's what it says, which is a mouthful, right? But this one is cool here. This is a schematic evolution progression for a cryptographic digital asset that evolves via one or more external triggering events. So that's really interesting. So you have these oracles up here, which they refer to in the patent as chain link, as the oracle. And chain link is always referencing this information that's happening in real world. That information is verifiable on the blockchain. So it's basically, here you can see that these shoes can basically, if there's a triggering event out in the real world, that triggering event can affect the shoe by possibly leveling up its jump, its speed, acceleration, strength, or anything like that. So maybe if there's a player or something that does really well and sets some kind of a record or something, or reaches some type of a milestone, that upgrades your shoe in some way. Now, one thing to keep in mind with these patents, right? Like, if you know anything about patent law, which I don't know a ton, but I do know that they try to keep it general as possible. Like, there's kind of two ways you can go with it. You can get super specific, which definitely helps you in court combat something because it's super specific. Or you can go super general to try to catch as much stuff as you want to catch, to try to protect yourself in all of these different ways. So the things that you see in the patents, they don't even necessarily have to come to fruition, because they might have just been wanting to cover certain bases that could happen on some level at some point. So don't just take what's on here as this is going to happen, but it's something that could happen, right? But even that the shoes themselves would have like these jump, speed, acceleration, and strength powers is pretty cool. That's figure 2. I think there's like 6 or 7 figures here. Here again is just like the evolution, and this is to kind of highlight geolocation and to say like, here's the oracle chain link, and there's a geolocation, like you're at a game or something, and then there's the first shutout in league history happens at that game right there. And now you can see that there's a thing that says evolution lock in here, and they talk about that a lot throughout the patent, which is basically like your shoe evolved because something happened from an external trigger. Now the shoe looks a certain way digitally. Like you can lock in that evolution so that the next event doesn't change it from that because you like that one. They talk a lot about that. I don't really know how that works necessarily, other than like you want to freeze it on a certain colorway. Something like that, but you can see there's Metaverse Night. Everybody goes scavenger hunting or something, and that affects it or whatever. And here's the player of the game, 85 points, 22 boards. It's a Clone X. Is that kind of talking about how they wanted to have some kind of athletic lead? Who knows? I will say, though, during the Nike FC League, we did see an artifact trophy. We still don't have any idea what's going on with that, but... So anyway, yeah, here's different evolutions. You're at game 4. They're league champions. You could evolve it then. And they said that there's kind of a gamification aspect because you have to choose, which evolution you may want. All right, here's the next one. This one's interesting because this is showing there's a shoe up here in the corner, element 55 base. There's a nuclear symbol here with this vial. The nuclear symbol, I'm assuming, means fusion. So you fuse your vial with this shoe, and then you get one of 6 outcomes. So here you can see there's Carlton Dance, Paper Fortune, Horizon Base, Pixie Saga, Sonic Rush, and Hot Pockets. Okay. Anyway, what does this mean? It means like you equip a vial, and then you get a random rarity or a random outcome. which is kind of cool because like we were all wondering about type vials and stuff like that. So maybe it's like in the next evolution sequence here is like when you equip a vial, you get a random outcome, which could be like the types, right? Like, oh, you get a golden MK2, or you get a helmeted human, or something like that. Like those rarities inside of those DNAs. Okay, so what do we got here? This is this is talking about how the outcome is at least partially dependent on the evolutionary state. So now you have an uncertain outcome vial, skin vial, and what that is going to get you partially depends on what evolutionary state your current shoe is at. So let's say like right now you evolve one of your shoes to EVO 3. Well, what this chart's saying is that another skin vial is going to come along, and it's a uncertain outcome skin vial. And if you pair it with your EVO 3, you're going to get something different than you might get if you paired it with an EVO 2. Remember, this doesn't mean that this is going to happen. This is just them covering possible outcomes. But that's an uncertain vial being influenced by the evolutionary state of your current vial. Here, this is kind of interesting. We can see that there's this base shoe here, 55. It's fusing with the skin vial to form this other shoe here. I hope you can see my pointer. No. Okay. So this shoe here is formed. Now with this shoe, you form it with skin vial 120 up here. You fuse it, and it forms this shoe all the way to the right. And it also drops a skin vial. What does that mean here? Let's just go through it. So let's say that you have an EVO 3 shoe here. You combine it with an EVO 4 vial, and that gives you an EVO 4 shoe. Also, it gives you your EVO 3 vial back so that it doesn't just get burnt. I'm not saying that that's going to happen. I tried to just give an example there to show you like you can evolve your shoe, and then instead of losing the skin that you had, the skin vial that you had implemented on that shoe, you actually get that skin vial back, and you get the new shoe from the new skin vial that you merged. I hope you understand. I think you understand what I'm saying. And then here they just show the total evolutionary process. So that's cool. And this all kind of came from like, man, in 2019, like if we look back at Nike, they had a lot together at 2019. It's pretty crazy, right? They already had a lot of patents kind of discovered at that point. And we're not going to we're not going to go anywhere near as deep as we did with the other one. I just wanted to show you some of these figures here and how, you know, they already had an app kind of fleshed out here that was interacting with the blockchain too, which is cool. So they already had that together. I'm not going to get into all of these heavy duty schematics here and explain all of this, but we're just talking about how they have a digital lockers, digital assets, interacting with blockchain technology. Here you can see an app being able to mash up shoes, possibly, maybe do some shoe mashing to combine certain traits. Here you can see this person is holding a shoe and being able to verify if the shoe is legit based on the digital locker and the blockchain. So that shoe is his phone is functioning as a digital locker in this thing, I believe, in this figure. Here you can see two people that are at an event, and the event is having an effect on their items in the digital locker. This is a video game application here. I believe this is showing that there's different characteristics over here. This is, you know, a football player, a soccer player that has all of these different characteristics, which is great. Look at how many different characteristics. That's pretty in depth. But I believe this is showing that you have the virtual object generator that's affecting this video game application, and it's all based on the blockchain. Here you can see this is a pretty funny schematic here because you got this guy with his hand on the neck like, hey man, it's pretty weird that you got this digital sneakers on a leash. And then the other dude's whistling like, yeah man, please don't pay attention. It's a little embarrassing. I have my digital shoes on my leash. But I think talking about, you know, shoes as pets basically, or bringing the shoes to life in a way in some kind of video game application. Bunch of people sitting around a table, all with their digital lockers, maybe playing a game together. And that's it. So yeah, I don't want to get too much deeper on the patents, but just so you know, if you follow Clone Law, and I don't think we highlighted him, but if you follow Clone Law here, at Clone Law has been with RTFKT since the beginning. I believe he came from Nike and is just handling all of the law aspects of everything. And Clone Law has been citing on the timeline, like kind of pointing all of us to check out the patents. So that's what I did, and we just broke it down. So thank you, Clone Law, and definitely follow Clone Law. Okay. So that's all the patent stuff, and then I just wanted to get into like some of the things that we've been seeing on the timeline here from RTFKT, showing us how the tongue mod is going to work with the vial dock. It's going to attach. The attachment's cool. Like, they thought of a good design for it. They didn't just leave it hanging, you know, like they made sure that it looked good when the mod is off. So it's form and function, which is good. I think it looks solid. But also, you know, I wanted to give some credit once again to the legend, Ali, at AALASADY. I'm sure you're following him already if you're watching this channel because you're a Clone X fan. But if you're not, definitely go follow Ali because he's a freaking genius. I mean, he's so good. Like, if RTFKT offered him a job, I'm not even sure he would take it because he could have other things going on. That's how good he is. But he was hired recently, I believe, or at least he collaborated with RTFKT on their latest video to showcase the Vial evolutions. Let's take a look. Man, that is so good. I don't know. It's just completely next level. I don't think there's anybody doing anything like that in the NFT space, but digital collectible space. And it's so good. I want to watch it again. Here we go. One more time. Yeah, that's unreal. Looks great. And that was our first glimpse at the designs too, like a possible glimpse of the designs. And you know, and in this video here, what we're going to do right now is we're about to review, not review necessarily, but I'm going to rank the vials and I'm going to rank the shoes in terms of the ones that I like the most. Please remember, this is not financial advice at all. Look, there's no telling. They could have special powers and then in some type of metaverse down the way. I have no idea. This is just based purely on aesthetics, and it's just my point of view. Definitely do not buy them based on this. So the first, or actually number 8, is the human vial for me. You know, it's great. The color scheme looks excellent. They all look excellent. So, but you know, the color scheme, it looks good. I think it is going to probably look pretty good with the Dunk Genesis too. But that's number 8. Let's go to number 7. Demon. I think it. Gosh, I could have ranked it higher, but I really do like it. I like the molten cracks that are going on. It's smart. It looks good. I don't know how great it's going to look necessarily with the crypto dunk, but who knows? It still looks great. Okay, so then we got number 6, the Angel. This could have been ranked higher because the blue is probably going to look good with the swoosh on the Dunk Genesis. I like it. It's gold. It looks great. I don't know. I mean, it feels weird at 6, but I have it at 6. That's what I'm saying. Okay, then I got the robot here. Why do I got the robot? I think that's going to look good with the Dunk Genesis. I think that color is going to look good with it. It's kind of like a darkish blue, dark purple, and it's got kind of a light screen on it. I don't know. I'm sure that's just going to be a sticker of some sort or something under some plastic, but yeah, I think it'll look good. So that's number 5. Number 4, Reptile. I chose this one because at number 4 because it really stands out, the color. Now it's not going to match at all the Dunk Genesis, but it's so not matching that it might actually look cool. Also, it's a reptile. It's EVO 3, so it's kind of it's a little bit of a statement piece too, right? Because it's got that rarity to it. I'm talking about something that's got rarity to it and aesthetics. Boom, the Undead. Like that's gonna look really. That might actually look the best with the Dunk Genesis. And it's an EVO 3 Undead, which has got all kinds of rarity to it. It looks great, man. I don't know. I really love that one. But it's hard to really phase, like the alien at number 2, because the alien's just so rare. Especially to get an EVO 3. Man, there's not going to be many of those floating around. So that definitely has to be at number 2, and it can only be trumped by number 1. Murakami, right? I mean, it's got the Takashi Murakami name. That's always going to be the challenge for aliens, is that the DKMS, or the MKDNAs has the Takashi Murakami name to it. So, but aliens are always going to be way more rare, almost twice as rare. So, but yeah, I got that at number 1. So, those are the vials anyway. Remember, don't purchase it based on my ranking. Now let's go to the shoes. So, okay, and again, this is just personal preference, so don't take it out. Don't be too upset here. But here's the human at number 8. And it's tough even saying that because, God, man, there's so much work went into it and it looks great. I also just want to put a guess out here for each of the shoes. I feel like this one is going to have something to do with speed, right? I mean, that's obvious because it's got a rocket. So if this is ever in a game, I would say that this increases speed. That's number 8, the human. Okay, so now number 7 is the angel, which might come as a surprise because I think people were pretty big on the angels, but hey, if I'm being honest, I don't know. I like it. I would have liked to see more wings on it or just something a little bit more feature on it. Something like that's moving, or I don't know. I mean, the angel's shoes look amazing, like that sky background on the panels, but yeah, I got the angel at number 7. Obviously like flight, some kind of jump. Maybe it increases your jump or gives you like a hover ability or some kind of flight, an extended jump. So then we got the undeads coming in at number 6 for me. And a ton of work went into these. It looks great. hard to know what this might do if it was ever in a game. Maybe it strikes fear in your opponents or something, or they're scary fast. I don't know. I can't even understand what kind of ability it might have. Maybe some kind of a damage ability or something. So number 5, the demon. Gosh, it's almost hard. It's hard not to put that at number 1. I thought because we had already seen the demon that I was going to be kind of underwhelmed with it because we had seen it previously. But I'm telling you, like, gosh, man, that's a beautiful design for that demon, and I have a feeling it's going to do damage if there ever is a game for it. So, all right, the next number 4, it's probably a surprise here, the robot. I think this design is exquisite, man. I really love that design. I like all of the lights on it. I like all of the animations on it. I think it just looks super sleek and super sick. So, yeah, once again, if this was in a game, I think it would give you some kind of jump or lift or something like that, if I had to guess. I don't know. So what's next? Number 3, the reptile. This is another one that I was like, man, how is this not number 1 here? I love the action and the motion on the toe right there. That texture that's moving. Yeah, I don't know. It just looks amazing. And it looks like when you stomp, it kicks out some of these poisonous darts. So once again, possibly a damage dealing element, which could be valuable. Number 2, the alien. I think you guys all know where this is going with the number 1, but the alien, once again, super rare, but also the design is great on it. I think all of these flaps, and it looks alive. It does really look alien. I think they did a great job encapsulating the alien vibes here. If I had to guess, this is going to be some kind of like very fast transport or something. UFO status. Okay, so then number 1, the Murakami. Whoa. Absolute masterpiece. It looks so good. And it looks so realistic in a lot of the renders too, man. There were people that were wondering if it was actually real on the timeline, where they thought for sure this like was a sculpture or something. But yeah, the animations are great. The designs are great. I like how the tongue for the DOB, replacing the tongue for the shoe. The eyes are moving on it. The tentacles, obviously, are the main feature. But yeah, it's just absolutely killer, man. And, you know, this kind of brings me to what we're going to talk about next, which honestly is like, I don't want to go too long on this, but there's kind of a lot to show here. So we're just going to kind of whip through it, a lot of it. But the question really now is like, are we seeing, in terms of evolution, are we watching Chris Lee evolve into the world class, world leader in futuristic fashion? I think we kind of have to ask that question now. And I mean, we could have asked that question a while ago, but then after these designs too, it's hard not to ask that question. You know, and we're going to go through some of his work here just kind of quickly. I'm not going to talk about all of it. We're just going to like say like his concepts, he's got 2D down and he's got 3D down, and he's coming from a perspective of like gaming and internet culture as like the thesis for his designs. And there, you know, this is a render of his PFP here. His Murakami DNA wearing the Murakami DNA shoes that he designed. He sat down with Takashi and kind of collaged those pieces together with under the advisement of Takashi-san. But yeah, I mean, I think you have to ask yourself now, like, there's the PlayStation shoes, like, here's Animus, like, if I'm looking at character designs for video games, that is a top tier character design for a video game too. That's not really. I mean, it is speaking to fashion still because this Animus is wearing really cool clothing, but yeah, Chris has got the 2D down, and he's been doing it for a long time. I mean, these are like some skins that he's been working on. These are concepts for Apex Legends that they did physicals for. Chris also does he's great with Photoshop. I mean, this piece right here, it looks like it's a manufactured piece, right? But he went into Photoshop and redesigned it in Photoshop. Same with all these designs here. But you can just see how vibrant and kind of jaw-dropping, conversation starting, and Chris has been doing this forever, right? Here's the Monkey King skin that he designed for CSGO. Really, you should look at his YouTube channel. I think it's just Chris Lee. Go to the YouTube channel. I might have the website pulled up. I hope I do, but yeah, these designs are absolutely sick. And if you go to Chris Lee's YouTube channel, you can actually watch him in the process of creating these kind of shoes, using Photoshop to skin these shoes. And I was like, wow, am I going to learn a ton of secrets that I can apply here? And it's like, yeah, you are going to learn a ton of secrets if you watch him. But also, dude, absolute next level Photoshop user. Yeah, you're going to pick up some tips and tricks in here, but it's not like you can just watch his videos and do what he does. He's got an insane amount of skill that is hard to procure, man. You got to spend some time to know how to move the mouse like that. These Atari shoes, though, super futuristic, and they look so good in real life, man. Or not in real life, but in augmented life. So, yeah, I just wanted to take you through some of Chris Lee's designs there. And, yeah, we're going to definitely look at Instagram, because I want to look at Instagram for sure. So we're going to take a quick pause here. Yeah, so not only is Chris really killing it with the 2D stuff, but definitely this is why I'm saying it's time to say maybe he is the leader in the clubhouse, or he's the one who is leading futuristic fashion. Possibly, man, he might be the GOAT out here. I mean, let's take a look at, because not only the 2D, but the 3D as well. And that's where I think you separate the designers there. Because there's probably a lot of people that have amazing 2D, but how many people are pulling off that right there? By the way, that's a video in conjunction with NVIDIA. So that's a throwback to Artifact and NVIDIA working together. But yeah, check that out, man. I mean, that's insane level detail right there. I don't know how many other people that can do 2D can do that level of 3D. I mean, here's that Atari shoe that we just saw a second ago too. That shoe doesn't actually exist. That's just in 3D right there, but it looks like it exists. That's how futuristic this augmented reality in 3D is. This one, I think, is one of my favorites. The League of Legends concept here. Because look at that trophy doesn't exist. That's not really there. But it looks like it is. And that shoe, he is holding a shoe, but he's not holding that shoe. That's an augmented reality overlay on that shoe. And I don't even think that trophy actually, I don't even think anything is there. But I can't tell you that 100% because it's so realistic looking. So I guess the question is there anybody else out there that can do 2D and 3D like this? And I'd say no. So I'd say that puts him at the top of the list. And here is Chris's YouTube channel. Whoa. I hope that didn't blow your ears out like it did mine. Should have muted it. But yeah, definitely come check out his look at this video right here. He shows you how to skin this entire thing. Granted, it's moving super fast, but like you can get like the gist of what's happening. But yeah, Photoshop skills to the moon right here. Like out of control. So, but I'm saying all of this because like also like at what point, and I tweeted this out. If I were an agent right now, and I was the agent for an elite athlete, I'd be knocking on Artifact's door right now. And honestly, like if I was an elite athlete and my agent did not get Artifact to design my shoe, I would probably be possibly looking to fire that agent. Because I think it's just a matter of time before the elite athletes out here are trying to get the design language from Artifact. So honestly, I think Artifact's in the driving seat because it's so good, and there's not many other designers that even come close on both the 2D and the 3D, and working with Nike to deliver the concept actually, plus with provable provenance. I mean, like, it would be irresponsible for an elite athlete to not follow up with Artifact, only to preserve that athlete's collectors by the provable provenance on the blockchain, right? Like other athletes, they have shoes. If you buy those shoes, you might get scammed by somebody with a fake shoe, but not if you buy the Artifact athlete's shoe. Do you know what I'm saying? I hope. So anyway, it's just a matter of time. I think it'd be interesting to find out who it's going to be. Here I have a picture of LeBron James. I mean, that would make sense, right? I don't know how many more years, though, LeBron's going to play for. But maybe LeBron wants to make a really crazy power move and just like take his brand in a new direction with Artifact, make it for the gamers, for esports, for basketball players, do a whole thing, whole rebrand, and really go to the next level with it. I could see that happening for sure. And then LeBron taking on the Jordan Empire by doing that. I think if anybody has a chance of taking on the Jordan Empire, it's going to be because they chose Artifact and Artifact's design language. That's the only way you're going to take on that empire. So anyway, that's my thoughts on that. So that was a lot. That was a long segment, but yeah, I think we covered it. We did the shoe ranking, the vial ranking. We talked about how Chris Lee is probably the best shoe designer in the world right now, and how that should influence athletes out there to choose Artifact. And that's about it, man. So now we're going to get into the latest and greatest What's Next Top 10. All right, so let's jump into it. Now we're going to move on to the top 10 of What's Next. And we've been doing this segment a lot lately, but it's only because so many things have been shifting around, so many things have been delivered, things have been falling off the list, new things have been added. So let's get in there again and kind of recalibrate and see what we're most fired up coming up soon. So first, let's start with number 10, collaborations. And, you know, for the first collaboration here, I'm going to thank Solomon the Unvaxxed at SOLOMONYISRAE1. Yeah, Solomon, he brought up NVIDIA again. And, you know, there was this tweet from Artifact saying, yes, we're experimenting on cool AI avatar tech with NVIDIA. Everybody got super hyped right there, right? Because, like, what in the heck is going on, man? Well, then there was an NVIDIA conference, and we're going to watch the video right here. So I just want you to kind of buckle up and listen to this because it's pretty cool. Aaron Wilson, I believe his name is, breaks it down for us. I think he's the head of the metaverse at Nike. Here we go.
right, so we talked earlier about, how we're using audio to face, and that alone, just what we're talking about, where you can record audio and have it automatically make your clone speak the way that you would speak, is revolutionary. But we don't stop there. We look forward to what's next after that. How can we continue to push the envelope? How can we continue to innovate? And anyone who's been around tech lately is probably saying, why would you record audio? You know, like, why do I have to think of what I want my avatar to say? That's not the future. And sure enough, that's where we're heading also. And so another, that goes further into our relationship with NVIDIA is, when we start incorporating other technologies. So when we use Emo and, start looking at large language models where you can really, your clone can represent you without you having to even be in the loop. And then you use tools like Riva to get interaction with people who are online when you're not, potentially. The clone community and the artifact community is global. And so, the opportunity to take the time barrier out of it, to have your clone online when you're sleeping, all of these they really are the future, and they're, great examples of how NVIDIA is, pushing the boundaries of what AI can do, what technology can do, what an avatar can be and mean. And it's just such a perfect pairing with the way Artifact has also, continued to evolve. What can a fashion company be? What can a digital avatar be? What can a 3D file be? And we're so excited to, to bring all of these different technologies, all of these groundbreaking capabilities together, and whether it's through clones, whether it's through Animus, be able to continue to bring this technology out to get people access to use it easily, to get people excited, and, to be able to just bring their pure creativity like we've been talking about. It really is just the perfect pairing. And we'll be able to, again, this is us trying to catch up and get a little bit ahead, and then we'll bring them up along with us. So, it's a never-ending cycle.
Wow. So that was just like, Aaron did such an amazing job there of laying that out. Man, props to Aaron for how eloquent he is. Yeah, so I mean, a lot of interesting things there, right? I mean, he was even talking about how it could be your clones or it could be Animus, and just like this living, breathing being that is now using artificial intelligence to kind of just be your true companion. And if you've seen people like just get more integrated with the large language models, now, X, they just released Grok. And but all of these things, like these AIs are starting to become so lifelike that like they're really approaching human level interaction and responses. I mean, there's like all kinds of stuff out there. AI actually, NVIDIA had a great demonstration where there was an NPC in a bar. And in the video, you walk up to the NPC and you can ask it anything, and it is like responding like an actual human would be. I mean, how much is that going to completely change video games right there when the NPCs are that lifelike? Like, that is what we're on the verge of right now. And what's insane is, like, your clone literally could just straight up come alive pretty soon. And not only is it going to come alive, but it could also have this pet, and the pet is also alive. So now, like, you are, like, have this digital crew all of a sudden, and they have personalities. And you're training them too, so they're like getting more acquainted to your personality and everything, and things that you want to know and all of that. So your clone is using a large language model, and it has multi-PhD smarts. It knows everything about everything. It knows you, and it can converse well with you. It's got an Animus that knows how to converse well too. And they're on your team working with you, alongside you. Like, I think that's kind of where they could be going with this, Never mind this thing like being an all-star athlete, like we saw in the patent, possibly something like that. But also being like these PFPs coming to life and being actual companions. Like Aaron seemed pretty fired up, and he's exploring and branching out in all of the right ways, if you ask me. Like really grokking the whole idea where it could be anything, and we really need to stretch our minds. So that partnership's insane. And who else has that, by the way, right? So Artifact has this partnership with Nike, and they make world-class footwear and athletic apparel. Best in the biz. They also have this partnership with NVIDIA that is, I don't even know what you even call NVIDIA anymore, because they don't just make GPUs, right? Like they are basically the brain or the powerhouse of AI. They are the ones that are probably going to be the reason why there is going to be a general intelligence at some point. That's how powerful they are. Everybody wants their technology. It's probably one of the most important companies in the world right now. And Artifact's partnered with them. Like, that's what I'm saying. These collabs are, like, that's crazy right there. But there's some other ones too. Like, you know, Shu Uemura, like this really cool digital makeup. These kind of like digital stickers, digital makeup that are going to be able to be used. You know, Shu Uemura is like a luxury Japanese brand that was bought by L'Oreal. So again, just kind of flexing that best in the business type vibe that I know Benoit likes to raise the bar so that everybody they deal with is the best, and Nike is the best, NVIDIA is the best, Shu Uemura is like the best in terms of luxury makeup. I mean, you know, speaking of the best, like Sam's out here talking about Apple working with, you know, the Vision Pro. Now, this isn't necessarily a collab per se, because it's not like they're working with Apple, but they're working with a third-party peripheral. So in that sense, it's a collab. And I just want to say, like, what I hope for this. And hey, go to Ali's YouTube channel, because you'll see another video that he did that kind of shows like what a clone putting on the Apple Vision Pro and kind of getting a cool vision there. What I would love to see is they have these this ability to have stationary placements of video screens and augmented reality objects. If Artifact were to ever develop an app and you were able to like go into the app, press a button, and then your environment gets completely dripped out in Artifact. It just becomes an Artifact environment. And all of your digital stuff is there. You know, I forgot what Mark Zuckerberg called it. It's in my last video, but it's stationary placement or something like that. And it's like, if you put a digital shoe there, it's there. Next time you put the headset on, it's still there. You know, something like that. So imagine, instead of looking at your shoes in 2D on a 2D screen in OpenSea or on the Artifact website, imagine being able to put these on and see your collection floating around in 3D. Being able to bring it up to your face and like really look at it, or just being able to see them like on a shoe wall, a digital shoe wall, and you get to actually feel like they're there. That's going to take the collector experience to the moon. And it's going to change everything, I think. It's going to make everything way more collectible, too. So, I don't know. I'm fired up about that. I'm not going to talk as much about this, but I got to tell you, the Ledger thing looks really cool. Like, everybody's going to probably want one of those Nano X vials. They haven't mentioned how that's going to happen. I'm sure it's going to be limited supply, and you're going to be lucky to get one. But that's something that's coming up. And, I mean, this is going to be great, too. Like, this is a luxury perfume and cologne, I believe. But it's a luxury fragrance manufacturer, creator. And we don't know a whole lot of details on this. This is going to be another thing that's probably going to be lucky to actually end up getting this whenever it comes along. But we haven't heard anything lately, but it's still going to be pretty cool. So that was number 10. Collaborations. Now let's move on to number 9. Move to Earn. Yeah, so what can I say about Move to Earn? This is something that I think we're all excited about, just to get more details. And the number one detail we all want to know is, what are we earning? Second detail is, how are we moving? And, you know, how does that matter? Is it going to be easy to game the situation? Is it going to be easy to cheat or scam? Is it only a one-time situation where there's like one big event for this? Or is this going to be something that's going to be carried on throughout the ecosystem through various different pairs of shoes? Or is this just all going to be dealing with the CryptoKick in real life because it's the only one that has a lace engine? And if so, does that cut out all of our, all of our Clone X members that are outside of the US? And is that fair? Or how is this all going to work? Maybe they're going to put a hiatus on it until they figure it out how to make it global, or maybe they are just going to move ahead with it. I don't know. There's a lot of questions. But I think in general, everybody's excited to just hear what they have planned. Because I'm sure that there's probably going to be some kind of cool thing that you're earning. They said it was going to be NFTs, and that it definitely wasn't going to be any kind of a token like Drip or something. So what kind of NFTs could they be? And is it going to be tied in with Animus? There's been some speculation that it's going to be tied in with Animus in some way. Maybe like while your Animus is incubated, that when you're moving to earn, that it's going to affect your Animus in some way. But again, if everybody doesn't have them, is that going to be fair? Although they did offer the hub method, and I know that there are people that did get these in different countries. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting, but I'm still excited to hear about it. So that's number 9. I mean, it's short and it's sweet and it's move to earn. So that's it. Okay, now for number 8, inventory. All right, so yeah, inventory. I mean, you're probably wondering like, why is inventory all the way down at number 8 at this point? Wasn't it a much higher before? Yes, it was much higher before. And so why did I move it down to number 8? Like, I'm still really excited about it, okay? So I'm not trying to take any of the steam out of inventory at all. But, now that they're, like, the Artifact said that they're not making a game, it definitely lowers the value prop or the interest level that I have for inventory. Because before, this was showing me, like, look how good that looks. That looks like AAA, better than most, or if not all, AAA level inventory systems right there. I mean, that's more interesting than God of War. That's better than Destiny. I don't know many that even can hang with this. It's probably, I haven't played a ton of Starfield, but it looks like, from what I saw of Starfield, it looks like a cooler inventory than Starfield. So it's like better than all that, but if it's not associated with the game, then so what is it used for? Right? And honestly, like in one of the more recent rollouts, it sounded like I asked Harlan a question about inventory, and he didn't answer many questions. One question that he did answer, though, was that inventory is not coming this year. So that makes me think it's not tied in with the Fortnite situation. Because I feel like Fortnite is going to be coming this year. I mean, maybe there's a chance later down the road that in some way that inventory can be used to outfit your character that can be used in the UEFN. I don't know. I wouldn't put my hopes up on that. Okay? I'm just trying to cover all bases here with what it could be used for, because let me tell you what I think the use case is looking like for me. Okay, it looks like this is possibly Clone Tools 3.0, where it's because as Harlan described it in his tweet, this is kind of like for people who have no idea how to use Clone Tools or Blender or anything like that. He was kind of talking about how this inventory is going to help those people out a lot. So that makes me feel like it's a very kicked up version of Clone Tools, where not only are you going to be able to possibly, pose your clone for renders and stuff like that, but maybe it's really coming down to just putting clothes on your clones to be used on the timeline for renders, or to be used for videos, for video production, or something like that. Now, I don't know, like, That's awesome if you love doing renders and you love being on the timeline, like showing off what your clone looks like on the timeline. Or if you like putting together, you know, videos and stuff like that. Like it is definitely sick that you can just like outfit your clones now. Maybe export it as a VRM or a GLB with those clothes on. So now you have that ready to go in a new outfit. But here's something that's interesting. Harlan is the lead for the space pods. He's also, I believe, the lead on this inventory app. So the person that's on the lead of both of those, possibly those are going to be intertwined in some way. And possibly you're going to be able to outfit your clone and then like export it easily to the space pod, you know, something like that. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to speculate too hard here. I'm just using actual information that we got, which Harlan said it's not coming out this year. He also said that they're not making a game in that same tweet. So those are two reasons why I'm kind of moving it down the list a little bit. And he kind of alluded to the fact that it's, you know, it's really going to help out people who have no idea how to use Blender or anything, which made me think it was kind of Clone Tools 3.0. So is that all speculation? No, that's me coming from Harlan's tweet. So I don't, no one knows what it's going to be used for. Only the team does. But that's kind of where I'm at right now. It doesn't take away from the fact that they did an excellent job designing it. But if it's not being used for a game and it's kind of more for just doing renders and that kind of thing, you know, my expectations are more measured right now with it. So not a big deal. Still probably going to be sweet. Who knows? All right, so that's inventory at number 8. Now let's move on to number 7, SpacePod update. So let's head on over to the website, because this is kind of like, if you really want to get any kind of information that we have about the space pods at this point, definitely go over to, you know, artifact.com, and then you can find it here. So we have some audio coming in here. Let's turn that off for a moment, just in case it's too loud. Okay, so yeah, I got the space pod update coming in at number 7. Because I feel like we're getting closer to them disclosing what incubation and hibernation are really all about. And that is the big deal right now with the space pods. Can the space pods kind of redeem themselves here, right? Because if you were following, like in my 2023 video back in the day, space pods was my number one thing I was most excited about. You know, because I thought for sure they were going to have some kind of like new complexities or new utility or something like gamification-wise inside of the space pod. And I was warning in that video, speaking of warning, I was warning in that video that if it was just going to be another larger space pod that had more places for NFT, for us to show our NFTs, that it was not going to be well received. And, you know, if you check out this space pod price, even though it has doubled recently, I believe, but if you check out the price on it, it definitely dropped after everybody realized that there was no new utility. You know, that's not to say that people aren't using them in really creative, awesome ways, because they are. All that's saying is, like, you could have done those same cool things basically in the previous pods. So what were the new pods bringing to the table? They were bringing incubation and hibernation. And those have basically been in the incubation and hibernation stasis. You know, they have been incubating these stations, or they've been hybrid. Either way, they have not been available so far. But I have a feeling that soon we're going to get more information about it. Because if Animus are going to reveal next year, if there's any kind of incubation stage for Animus, then we got to be hearing something soon. Because the longer they delay the incubation, either the shorter the incubation duration, or the farther out the Animus reveal is. So it's kind of a time-sensitive situation, I think, for them at some point, based on whatever milestone they're trying to hit with the reveal of the Animus. So, yeah, I'm excited. I mean, I'm super excited here about the SpacePod update. I mean, you know, on the Artifact website, in the upcoming events, it says Artifact Animus Egg. So maybe we'll hear more about like the incubation coming soon. So yeah, I'm fired up. Those are going to be two fun things, I think, that are really going to bring the space pods back to life. So I think it'll be great. And yeah, so let's move on to number 6, the Artifact website revamp. Yeah, I mean, we got a couple of tweets here. This is on January 23rd. This was back in the day after they wanted to kind of talk to us after the monolith, I believe, and kind of like chill out the community. But they said, slower, better, together. The Artifact team's effort is focused on quality, creating new experiences. Artifact.com, huge, in all caps. Revamp, in the works. Inventory, for clones, creators, and the ecosystem. So there was that tweet. Then there was another one here from Benoit. Yeah, he's a part of the website revamp, along a lot of other features we're currently working on. And then there was another one we said, I don't know what he's responding to here, but he said, I've been working on this in the past month as a super core part of the brand and community experience. Just it takes time and we'll release next year. Trust me, all of these issues I've foreseen and have been working on big revamp. So, yeah, I mean, if we're looking at the Artifact website, I mean, it's good. It's nice. I mean, yeah, I could see that it does need a revamp. I mean, it's nice. It's cool. The SpacePod website looks more futuristic for sure. This one, I mean, I could see it. It does need a refreshing. It still looks cool, but they definitely did a nice job on the WTF there. Like, if you really have any questions with any of the ecosystem, there's like there's a ton of information here. You can even click on a lot of these pictures to get more information on any of the things. So it's cool. Yeah, I can. But why am I excited about it? Because I always like new information. Like, I think anytime if they're going to do a huge revamp to the website, I'm excited about that. Because, and then maybe it's going to involve the Animus website too, because there has been talk about an Animus website coming soon. So, I don't know, maybe I always like this kind of stuff, this brand stuff, because it really helps me understand where they're going and if I align with where they're going. So as somebody who's investing in this ecosystem, I like to know where they're going. And those kinds of things speak to me as somebody who likes to, you know, align with brands that speak to me. So I'm excited for that information, is what I'm saying. So that is number 6. Now let's move on to number 5, Complexcon. Yeah, so it was really cool. They're doing a great job with this Complexcon rollout, basically, because, you know, Complexcon is a huge event. I mean, I don't even know if there's a bigger event for the sneaker culture in general. And I'm not going to act like I know a ton about this. And I do watch the Complex show all of the time and everything on YouTube, but other than that, I don't know a ton about it. I've never been to Complexcon. It's out in California. But here's the holder pass. And if you had a a clone. I'm not even sure that they might be sold out at this point. But, I'm sure any clone that wanted to go already knew how to do this, got their holder passes, and they're ready to go. I mean, there were some other passes too. Like, they did a great job with the design on this. There's a VIP after party. There's a discount code, holder pass. It looks like there's a Saturday holder pass and a Sunday holder pass. I think the holder passes are free, so you can get in for free. And I think the discount code, you get a discount off. And then the VIP party, obviously, that's for an after party. So, yeah, I don't know. This Complexcon is a really big deal. Like, you can go to the Artifact. There's an Artifact tweet about Complexcon that really gets into the weeds with all of the details and everything. But again, this is out in LA, Long Beach Convention Center. And, alongside Complexcon, Artifact is offering unique access to Clone X holders to Complexcon. Clone X holders can RSVP for November 18th or 19th. As a bonus, the Clone X pass holder will get an exclusive preview at 12 p.m. on the respective Saturday or Sunday before it opens to the general public. So, wow. Like, that's some insanity right there to get a preview. We kindly ask that you RSVP for the day that you plan to attend. But yeah, that preview aspect is really huge. I mean, a lot of people do shopping at these events, right? So like, that's kind of a big deal, because if you can spot what booth you might want to go to first, sometimes things are like very exclusive. So like, you need to get there with the quickness if you want to get something. So having a little preview, I don't know what that's going to look like, how in depth that's going to be. They might just be able to get in and kind of check it out, but that's still a huge bonus, because Complexcon is a very profound event at this point. It's a very big cultural event. And another thing that we learned at Complexcon is that Artifact brings a unique opportunity for Clone X holders to enter the Dunk Lab at Complexcon. So that's Clone X holders only can enter the Dunk Lab. Man, I don't know. What does that mean? I have no idea. Is it going to be super crazy cool beyond expectations, or is it going to be something that's pretty cool? Like at the first in real life event, they did have something set up there. It was pretty cool. You got to get in there and kind of do some stuff, and it was novel. It was okay. It was nothing crazy. Is this going to be something like that? Or is this like you go into the dunk lab and make your own dunk, and then you get to take some dunk home? I wouldn't bet on that. I'm just saying, like, how crazy is the dunk lab going to be? Is this some mad science stuff going on right here? Is everybody going to be super crazy fired up that they did it? I don't know. We are going to find out soon, though. November 18th and 19th. That's 10 days away from this video being launched. And then there was something else that Ben said here, too. I'm not going to be able to hear this video, so hopefully I can stop it on time. But here we go. Check this out.
Gonna be cool. And speaking of games, like you'll see, we have some little things prepared around the dunk, because again, it's born from our passion for gaming. So hopefully, what we're gonna showcase in near the public sale on what we're doing on there will inspire people as well to use some of these new tools that are available for people who want to touch a bit of Unreal and cool stuff. Not gonna say more, but preparing something cool.
People need to start practicing their gaming skills.
Yes, the beauty. Gonna be cool. And speaking of games, like you'll see, we have some little things prepared around the dunk, because again, it's born from our passion for gaming. So hopefully, what we're gonna showcase in near the pub.
So yeah, they're talking about basically about having a game, something gamified happening here, and it has to do with Complexcon. So I don't know what that means. Are they going to release the Fortnite map at the same time that they do Complexcon, the UEFN, or is there going to be some kind of game? Does it have anything to do with the Dunk Lab? That sounds like, and then Zap says like you got to be practicing your video game skills. And then You know, which is weird because Zap did also say that about the UEFN stuff. So it sounds like, is it, and all that seemed like that tied into Complexcon. I don't know, man. Maybe there's going to be either a game at Complexcon or they're going to release a UEFN right around that same time for people who can't make it to Complexcon. I don't know. But besides all of that, Complexcon is going to be a big deal because that's a public sale is going to happen for the Dunk Voids. The Dunk Genesis Voids. And it's going to be really interesting to see the public's response to those. Because like I said in the very outset, ideas are like software. And it doesn't matter if it's at 5%, 10%, 30%, or 90%. Until it's fully downloaded, it's as though it doesn't exist for the PC or the phone that it's getting downloaded on. And, you know, the public, gamers, you know, a lot of people don't realize how important digital provenance is to collecting sneakers just yet. They don't either have faith that it is something that can work, that actually does work. Because I think once the public and once the gamers and everybody realizes, like, oh my God, I really can verify these shoes. Like, I know that these shoes are really made from Artifact because it's got this NFC chip in it and I can verify it on the blockchain. Once they know that, I have to tell you, like, I don't know how anybody collects other sneakers after that. I think it's a sea change. It's a paradigm shift. Once the software is downloaded and they understand it, it would be hard. Like, I don't know that I would ever want to pay a lot of money for a physical shoe that can't be established on the blockchain at this point. Because I've seen forgeries that are so good now, there's no way you can tell. And they're fooling people at StockX. So if they're going to fool people at StockX, they're definitely going to fool me and a bunch of other normies out there. So if I'm going to collect shoes seriously, I'm going to want to make sure that they're verifiable. So that's all I'm saying. So for that reason, Complexcon is number 5 because it's going to mark a huge inflection point. And for me, it's going to show how downloaded the software is. You know, like if it sells out instantly, that means we're at like 98% downloaded. If it doesn't have a warm reception, that means we're still at 20% downloaded, right? Because I think it's objective. You can't even argue the fact that sneakers that have provable provenance, especially low-run sneakers with provable provenance, that just makes more sense as a collector than buying something that could easily be faked. So we'll find out how far downloaded the software is at Complexcon and at the accompanying online event after. So, all right. So now let's move on to number 4, the marketplace. There's not a lot of information about this, right? We just have one graphic. This is on the old website, or this is on the Clone X website here. It's still on there. And it marks a big point in Clone X history when all of us realized that Artifact was planning on releasing a marketplace. And the tagline here is a place to customize your clone, get new wearables and drops, and trade with clone friends. So, and that graphic looks sick too right there. But so the marketplace is a huge deal for just so many different reasons. Like I would really want to know, like, are we going to be able to sell things on it, like digital and physical, or is it just digital? Are they going to use the marketplace in kind of the same way that Yuga's using the marketplace that they have coming up with Magic Eden, where it's going to allow for enforceable royalties? I think that would be super smart. Like, why not? I mean, honestly, just cut out Blur, cut out OpenSea. Anybody who does not have enforceable royalties, just cut them out of the loop. Like, you don't have to sell your stuff at Dollar Tree. You don't have to sell it at Walmart. You don't have to sell it at Kmart. Gucci doesn't do it. Bugatti doesn't do it. Louis Vuitton doesn't do it. Like, nobody does it. You can find Gucci items on Walmart. That is true, but that's through a third party or something weird. They're doing some like weird workaround on that. But still, Gucci does allow it. But like, Gucci's not spearheading a move to feature their stuff on Walmart. It doesn't really. If you're going to try to be a luxury brand, or even if you're just going to try to be a solid brand, like prior to all of this, you know, like Vans, or let's just say Nike. Nike wasn't a luxury brand at all before like any talk about Artifact. But man, if you saw Nikes at the dollar store, or you know, if you saw really like great Nikes at like Walmart or Kmart or something, it would detract from the brand. And is that fair? Is that right? I don't know, man. But that's just the case, you know. And the reason why, really, like if you want to say, oh, it's elitist, it's not really. Like, people don't really like those stores because they beat down their suppliers. You know, like they squeak every inch out of their suppliers, and they're kind of working their suppliers over too, because like at Walmart, for instance, like if you bring in a product and they like your product, okay, then they're going to keep squeezing you, and then if you don't deliver, they'll just find somebody in China to make your product or something very similar to like get you out of there. Like, it's very cutthroat. That's why a lot of people who are like more on the art side of things don't like to support those brands, because they're too focused on the dollar. They're not focused enough on keeping the creators healthy. So what I'm saying here, we're talking about a digital marketplace. Like, yeah, cut out anybody who's not enforcing royalties. Who cares? I mean, what's the substitution cost? Like back in the day, if you go into a different store, you got to get in your car and you got to drive another 20 minutes somewhere. So, it was a bigger hassle. But now it's like, oh, I can just hit my bookmark and go to a different marketplace, or hit this bookmark and go to that marketplace. Who even cares? It really does not matter whatsoever. I can go to OpenSea just as fast as I can go anywhere else. And if it's not offering the right kind of service or the right customer service, dude, honestly, who cares? I don't care. I have zero loyalty to OpenSea whatsoever. And honestly, that's Artifact's like, that's a big move for them, because open up their own marketplace, cut out all the people who don't deal with royalties, enforce royalties on your marketplace, and then offer and incentivize people to use your marketplace through rewards or whatever else you want to do. You know me, I'd suggest Drip, and I'd get hated on by about 30 people for saying that, but that's what I do. But like, yeah, have a marketplace and cut everybody else out. Who cares? It's easy to replace. But also, does this tie into inventory? Or is this going to, because I know Nike's making a marketplace too. And I heard from a good source, I don't want to name the source, but I heard from a good source that you are going to be able to sell things on the Nike marketplace too. And it's going to be tied into your bank account. Like, hey, like, don't quote me on that, but like, you could literally register your bank account with them or whatever, sell something on the Nike marketplace, and then that money goes into your bank account. I don't know. When the source told me, I had a hard time believing it, but that's what they said. And so I'm not going to name who it is. But, so what, is Nike and Artifact going to work on a marketplace? That seems kind of like a lot of separate work to be doing. Maybe they're just going to do one big marketplace or something. I don't know. But I'm really excited. My excitement for this is kind of growing more and more all of the time. Especially after the Bored Apes and Magic Eden released theirs, because it's like, yeah, man, cut these people out. If they're not acting right, forget it. All right, so that's number 4, marketplace. Let's keep it moving to number 3, Gamification. I'm sure you've seen this. If you're visiting this channel, you've already seen this. This is Artifact announcing that they're going to be creating the UEFN officially. And you can already see that they're hard at work on it. You can see the space pod in the back. It's looking good, right? I mean, it's exciting. Like, this is a zap right here. The Artifact community needs to start sharpening their Fortnite skills. And importantly, playgroundlegend.eth says builds, no builds, need to prepare for this. And Zap says build on, so it's going to be builds. Traditional Fortnite status. This is the actual announcement here. And there was a lot of different theories going on right here, because you can see, where will you be dropping? That's what, if you go onto like the Fortnite Twitter, they always ask that, where are you going to be dropping? So this one says, where will you be dropping for Artifact? And it's got 4 colors there. So now, this really kind of ties into the Complexcon possibly, because you do see that there's the OG color, there's the bread color, and then there's the void color there, right? That's what kind of, I've saw like probably 10 different people kind of come to that conclusion. And then everybody's like, well, what's this 4th one? And I've seen a lot of people say that it's Animus. And you know what? It probably is Animus. Because, like, check this banner out. It's about the same color, right? As that. And that's the Animus banner. So, yeah, it's probably the Animus section. Why does that entirely matter, though? It doesn't really. Like, where will you be dropping? There probably, it looks like there's 4 different zones. And obviously, if you had to guess, they're all going to be themed after those areas. Like, you're going to have the OG situation over there kind of glowing with all the blue glow and all that kind of stuff. Then you're going to have the Clone X colorway, which is, like, you know, obviously they're just going to be themed after the colors. I don't have to get into all of it. But the Animus one's probably going to be the most interesting part of it, because this could be their way of showcasing some new Animus models. Like dropping some new Animus details on us by showing them off here. Because, like, if they just use the shark and the Nauticoda, okay, that's fine. That's to be expected. I wouldn't doubt that. If they're going to use the egg, wouldn't doubt that either. But this is a really good chance for them to, like, throw some new models in there, Animus models that we haven't seen yet, to get us all fired up. And that speaks to kind of this UEFN thing, like a cool strategy for the UEFN is it's kind of could be like a product showcase where you can invite your community, if you're a creator, to come there. And that's the first time that they get to experience a new rollout of information. So it's kind of a interactive way to roll new product launches out or new information. So this is going to be cool. You know, like, I don't know how far, you know, listen, Tim Sweeney said some things that I wasn't super fired up about NFTs, where he was basically kind of like, in their last keynote, it sounded like he could take it or leave NFTs. And so I wasn't like super fired up about that, because in my opinion, like, the future of gaming is absolutely digital collectible ownership and digital property rights. Absolutely. And any developer, founder, leader that does not see that, in my opinion, is on the wrong side of the ball. They're on the wrong team or whatever, because people need to be worrying about gamers' property rights. It's a human rights issue. I mean, look, it's not like the #1 human rights issue, right? But it's a human rights issue objectively, because I used to be able to take games and sell them back or give them to friends or do whatever, but now there's digital games, and I'm not allowed to sell those things. I'm not allowed to resell those. I got probably over 2,000 hours in Destiny, right? Well, I can't sell any of the stuff that earned along that way or anything like that. Like, I had fun. It was cool. But there was a lot of time and energy spent earning these items that I can't sell them or anything. Like, it's kind of weird. It's too restrictive. So it's like kind of like a human rights-y type issue for me. Anyway. But I'm excited because Epic is a great game. Like, they do have Unreal Engine, right? Like, they are very on the vanguard. They're very on the forefront. You know, just like Ben always says, he wants to be with the best of the best. Like, you know, Fortnite is like the leader right now. I mean, if people are streaming, like, they're streaming Fortnite, you know? So, I mean, more and more games, like, people are starting to stream. So, like, Fortnite's going to have to play some catch up here. They're going to have to, like, start allowing property rights because every game is going to have to offer property rights. I'll tell you that. Like, I don't care if your leader doesn't like them or not, doesn't like digital collectors or not. They're going to. And why? Look, if I had tech that was anywhere near Fortnite's and I was a leader, I would just tell everybody that Fortnite isn't going to allow you to have property rights. And I'm going to. So you can spend 10,000 hours playing games in Fortnite and not be able to sell your stuff. Or you can come to my game, which is equivalent to Fortnite, and you can sell your stuff. That's why the up-and-coming people that are looking to replace the incumbents, they're going to use that as a way to get market share. And if these incumbents want to continue to reign supreme, they're going to have to head that off of the past by also offering it. So I'm excited. I think they will. They're future forward. I don't think they're a bad company. I just think, like, the software is not downloaded, like we've been talking about as a theme through this video. It is like Epic is like at 60% downloaded of how important digital property rights are to gamers. It'll be 100% soon. The download speed will increase on that concept when their competitors are offering property rights. They'll start downloading that concept very quickly then. And maybe we'll see that here. I don't know. But I know right now I can't sell any of my skins in Fortnite. And until I can, I still think they don't totally understand property rights. So it would be so beautiful if they do. And they lead in that way. Because that would be really a great moment for gamers. Even though gamers don't understand it yet, they will when they can actually sell these digital items. They will actually care. Another thing I would like to see Epic do is have more than 100 people on a map. You know, like, look, graphics have come to such a point now that it's uncanny. Like, it's almost photorealistic graphics at this point. They're completely beautiful. It's hard to say that we're going to go too much farther with graphics. So it's like, where are games going to go? Like, where can they go that's going to be interesting? Well, they're going to go to AR. They're going to go to VR. Those are interesting. But the one that's the most interesting to me is true massive multiplayer. And we've seen it with Improbable and Other Side. I was in those betas. And when you're running around with 5,000 other people, that, for me, is the future of gaming. Because if you can populate a city, you know, you can populate a city with an entire PFP collection, and that city can be vibrant, and it's all on the same server at the same time, rather than segmented into 100-piece servers all over the place. Then a city can become alive. And that is next level. Like, I know people are going to try to make cities come alive with very realistic NPCs, and that's supposed to be awesome for us. That'll be cool, but that's not going to be anywhere near as cool as if it was a city full of actual people that were behind those PFPs. So true massive multiplayer. And there's not too many people that have that kind of tech right now. Is Epic there? Or, like, can they get to a point where they go massive multiplayer? That's what I want to see. And why? Because eventually I want Artifact City. I want all of the clones to be able to be in the city at one time, engaging in contests, concerts, events, all of that, hanging out at Bartifact. I want all of that like real vibrant ecosystem all at once. I'm kind of over the whole 100 people on a server type vibe. I'm kind of over. I'm ready for the next horizon, and for me, it's true massive multiplayer. So, anyway, I'm excited about this. It might not have sounded like it with all that, but I am excited about this. It's a step in the direction of towards everything I want out of this whole collection. And they could innovate here. They could do weird things. Like, I know I have seen people bring their avatars into UEFN. I have seen that. I don't know. That might have been a tricky video where they did some weird editing, but if that's possible, then possibly Artifact could bring in, clones. Or maybe you use INVTRY to bring them into UEFN in some tricky way. I have no idea. Do not bet on that. Probably not possible. But yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting one way or the other. So yeah, let's get fired up, right? Sweet. Number 2 coming up soon. MNLTH. Oh man, number 2 spot. Here we go. And there's not much. This was just promo video right here. And I don't have a ton to say about this, okay? Like, I'm not going to just sit here and go off on Monolith 2. But, like, we all know what the story is here. Monolith 1 was a complete letdown. I still do wonder, and I asked it 2 videos ago, like, how that happened. And was one person in charge? Or did everybody on the team hear the idea and everybody was like, yeah, let's put the lace engine in there and make it a coupon code? Like, or was it just one person? Or like, how did that all happen? I would still love to hear that backstory, but I feel like that's probably not going to happen again. There's no telling, but it seems like this is going to be a chance for them to make things up here, right? It's like if you have a chance to hit a game-winning shot and then you miss it, and then later you get another chance to hit that game-winning shot again. Like, this is that shot. How do they win here? What's the winnings, the winning outcome? There has to be a random element to it, and the random element has to be pretty sick. Like if there's a new batch of skin vials and there's a few of the skin vials that are just incredible or something, that's going to really help at least the price of MNLTH. Because if people are like, oh, there's a cool random element to it, yeah, let me definitely get in there and get that. The random element is going to drive the success of it the most. Now, if they complement it with a cool item. So there's 3 things they're going to have here, and in order of importance. The number 1 most important thing they need to have in there is a random item that has a solid pool of outcomes that are a few of them are super sought after. They need that for number 1. Number 2, there needs to be an item in there that accompanies it. Now this item can look a lot of different ways. And I've always said, like, if it's the Crypto Kick Jordan, that would be completely sick. And that's gonna make it fly. If they have a really great if they have new skin vials in there, they're rare, and they have a Crypto Kick Jordan, dude, it's going to be hard not to win right there. Now, and then the third thing they have to have in there is another monolith. Right? That's it. Those 3 things have to be in there. Not necessarily the Crypto Kick Jordan. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it needs to be there needs to be a vial with a random chance. There needs to be an item and a monolith. That doesn't mean they necessarily need to have that. They could have come up with something that's like, dude, you think that's good? Wait till you see what we got. It's even way better than all that. That could be the case. Okay, I'm leaving that door's open. That's fine. I'm just saying the bare minimum is those three things. That will show the community that they know the community. That makes sure. Now, for anybody who's like, dude, it's got to be a Dunk Genesis, it's got to be a Dunk Jordan. I don't know if that it does, because here's the one thing about that. As much as I want that, the number one thing I want out of this, I want the monolith to be in perpetuity. Is it because I own some monoliths? Partly. Also, I think it would be really interesting to see how long that this lasts. You know? How big of a deal is this going to be over time? Like, I don't know. It's there's not very many perpetual reveal technologies in the PFP digital collectible ecosystem. So to see how this one reacts over time is going to be a learning lesson for everybody. And you might as well just do it. Although I understand it does take resources and time and energy and everything to fill these monoliths and to manage the monoliths. But remember, they also do have royalties that are associated with all of them. And if you have a marketplace that has enforceable royalties, people can't escape those, which is great for all of us, by the way. I mean, those people that don't want royalties, like, I just don't understand, man. I just don't get it. So anyway, I'd love to see it in perpetuity. And if the Jordans come this early, is there enough room for new, cooler, interesting things to come down the pipe? Because that's kind of like a pretty big one. Now, I did see in that patent stuff, they were talking about vehicles in there. So that could be a whole interesting meta right there, where they start introducing vehicles into these monoliths also, from hoverboards or whatever. Like, they could do that kind of stuff too. So there could be other items in there that are interesting, you know. So I don't know. Anyway, I'm excited because I think they're going to try to redeem themselves here. We'll see. You never know, man. So now on to number one, the Animus website. And I think it's pretty safe to say that everybody's completely fired up about Animus at this point, right? I mean, even people outside of the Clone X ecosystem are probably really fired up to see to what level Animus is going to be at. What level of just execution? How deep is it? Is it something that's meant to replace the clones? Is it something that's meant to, like, complement the clones? Is it a whole new direction? How much fashion is involved? Because, you know, like, it does seem like, are they going to actually have fashion elements that are associated with them that can be forged? I mean, we saw some really cool gear on the wolves, but man, I don't even know. Like, you can see the shark guy here has a cool coat on, but man, that's going to be hard to judge, like, sizing, if there's any fashion involved. And that just makes me think, well, if there's not any fashion involved, that seems like a kind of a whole new direction then, because the clones have a ton of fashion. Or maybe they just separate them. Clones is where you're going to get all your fashion stuff. Animus is where you're getting all, like, your video gamey type stuff, you know? I don't know. I mean, that's all speculation, but, like, here's the trailer. Love the trailer. Love the music again. And if this is Jam Pants too, man, it, like, really just has all kind of different styles. This is a really nice, like, skateboarding kind of, like, punkish song. But, yeah, cool trailer. Love it. I mean, let's look at the trailer again, because, you know, Zap was saying that these are like pets. I got to tell you, man, like, they look a lot more than that, right? They look like they have things they're trying to accomplish and get done. Looks like they're running from the law there too. But, you know, Aaron Wilson, the leader of the metaverse development for Nike, in that talk that we watched earlier, was possibly hinting that you know, Animus could have something to do with the AI, with NVIDIA. And, you know, we already talked about all of that, where your clone is actually like a companion, a multi-PhD level companion that knows just about everything on the planet, that is always willing to hang out and talk and stuff. That's going to be crazy. And then if you have this Animus also that is able to do, I mean, things are going to get pretty weird out here, it seems. I mean, with AI and 3D avatars, it's going to be pretty cool to see how that all develops. And Animus could possibly be part of that. You know, I mean, it's just all of the marketing that they've done for Animus has been super cool. And we've just want more information. You know, it has been a long time since we've had any really solid information. And it's one of the bigger things coming for Clone X, so that our desire for information is just kicked up to like level 100. And here we have a little tidbit from the Artifact website, right? Upcoming events. I mean, we've already done the Nike Dunk Genesis Crypto Kicks. We've already done the Skin Vial EVO X. The last thing here is Artifact Animus Egg. And like I said earlier, that doesn't say Artifact Animus website. You know, it says Artifact Animus Egg. It seems like it's very specifically targeting the egg, which maybe it means it has something to do with incubation, and like we're going to start the incubation type stuff coming up here soon. I don't know, but that's listed in the upcoming events. And they've been pretty spot on. I mean, maybe after Complexcon we see the Animus Egg kind of roll out. Maybe it's in Christmas, because we got Complexcon's going to be the 18th and the 19th. Maybe after that we're going to be late November, early December. I don't know. No idea when this upcoming event is set to take place, but it's definitely coming soon. So we know that. And, you know, how do we know that there's a website? Am I speculating? No. This is the CTO right here. I was asking him, you know, does the DNA have anything to do with... Does your DNA as a clone have anything to do with what kind of Animus you get? And Sam says, wait for the release of the Animus website for more info on that. So that's how we knew there was a website coming for sure. And, you know, like, here's the Wolf character card again. Just totally love this. I mean, this is like... Man. That looks cooler than a lot of the characters I've been seeing in the video games that I'm playing anyway. You know, like, that's just the polish that these guys have is out of control. Inventory looks better than inventory managers that I've seen in all of the latest AAA games. I've seen all of them. Inventory looks better than those. And that was developed, man, 6 months ago, a year ago. And it's still holding up, looking better than most other inventory managers. This character looks better than like the characters I've seen in Zelda, a lot of the characters I've seen in Mario, because it's got more of that kind of cartoony vibe. It's not like a God of War type enemy or anything, but it looks better than the Ratchet and Clank characters. It looks better than the Mario characters. Looks better than anything I've seen in Fortnite or in I don't know, man. So Artifact just has a lot going on in all the right ways here. So yeah, here's that egg. It's just shaking here, you know. It's just like the Animus Egg upcoming event. It's upcoming soon. The Animus website, I would guess, would happen before the incubation. Or maybe they happen at the same time and the Animus website is there to help guide us through the incubation. But I'm really excited. I mean, what am I most excited to find out? Well, first thing, does the DNA tie into the egg? You know, like, is there a hibernation and incubation element that tie those two together? The next thing, you know, is what is incubation? What is hibernation? What are they doing for the ecosystem? How many Animus are there? You know, Ben mentioned that they weren't going to do a traditional rarity system because I don't know. I'm not sure exactly why they're not, but it could be cool. But he said, don't worry, there's still going to be some ultra rare things. So I'm really interested to find out how that's going to work. And oh man, I don't really know what's their role. Like, if there's no game, if Artifact is not making a game, what is going on with Animus? Like, Harlan said they're not making a game, and Benoit said they're not going to make their own game. They did say that they could be involved in other games, you know, other people's games, OPG, but they didn't say that they're going to make their own game. So, if they're not going to make their own game, then what is Animus? You know, I don't know. Is Animus going to be plugged into a Pokemon game? Or is Animus really, like, you know, like I said in the last video, is it just like a pet that hangs out with your AI clone? You got an AI pet and an AI clone hanging out in your space pod? I mean, or is it just going to be used for renders and for movies? You know, I know Chris Lee is big on video production, and the Animus characters could look really cool. Maybe people are going to want to use them for video production. You know, it could be something like that where it's more video production focused instead of gaming. So, yeah, man, I don't know. I'm excited for the website. I'm hoping it's just littered with information. You know, the more information, the better. But I think the most important for me is, like, what are they going to be doing ultimately? What's the vision behind them? Is it AR? Is it gaming? Is it just for video production and renders? What are they? And why are they? So, anyway, that's the Animus website. That's number 1. And that closes out our top 10 of what's next. So, we're going to be moving on now to the final segment, Ion, in other news. See you there. Now it's time for the final segment, Ion, in other news. I think you'd have to say that the lead story out here is the Creator Challenge. Let's take a look at it really quick. This video, once again, prepared by Ali. Let's check it out. Yeah, another beautiful piece by Ali. And man, I don't know. This is going to be so cool. Like, there's only 5, I believe, 5 of the Murakami pills. And they've already given away all of them but one. And now, whoever wins this Creator Challenge, and this, by the way, is for anybody, including the creators of Artifact. Because if you want to be Artifact creator, you can register to be a creator, and then you can have certain benefits or whatever of being a creator within the Artifact ecosystem. But this challenge is not limited to the creators. It doesn't matter what ecosystem you're in, if you don't have any PFPs or whatever, whoever you are, if you want to just do something that has to do with this challenge. Like, you know, it's not going to be something, you're not going to be able to just pull something that you've already done before. Like, they want something that is specifically created for this challenge. I mean, you can see the rules. Like, you can actually go to the website. There's a link in the, if you just go to Artifact, you can go to Artifact Creators, Twitter, and then you'll see a link there. And in the link, it'll discuss all of this stuff. I mean, the Murakami pill, just in case you don't know what the Murakami pill is basically Takashi Murakami is going to customize one of your clones. Once the pill is consumed, you will receive